Okay, there's no beating around the bush with this topic. Everybody's been kind of freaking out on Twitter, on Facebook. I mean, you could probably test the legitimacy of the intelligence of the fans on Facebook, but you know what I mean. Everybody that I've seen has been talking about Jesperi Kotkaniemi and how this guy was so good for the Montreal Canadiens in the postseason against the Flyers, and how everybody was expecting him to step up and be a third line, maybe even a second line caliber center for the Canadiens next season. So, when it was announced that Kotkaniemi was going back over to Finland to play with the Porin Asat, the team wherein he suited up for in his draft year, and the team wherein the Montreal Canadiens took him from back at the 2018 NHL entry draft, fans were over the moon. We saw speculation from Finnish media outlets and Finnish hockey people saying things like, yeah, Kotkaniemi better dominate. Kotkaniemi better go over to Finland and start tearing up the score sheet, being a number one option on the power play, being maybe even their first line center over there in Porin for their squad. And overall, the expectations for this guy were through the roof. And for good reason, too. Everybody said it. This guy was good in the NHL. He was good in the AHL. He was a point per game there. So now he's going over to a league that is lower than the AHL. Well, he's at 0 points in 4 games, and we need to talk about this. So, let's talk about what exactly Kotkaniemi has been doing, because if you take a look at it at face value, yeah, that's not great. 0 points, 4 games played, you really expect more out of a guy who a lot of people would say was one of the best Habs out there against Philadelphia in their first round series. Obviously, I get that, and at face value again, just looking at the numbers, there is room for disappointment there when you see, okay, this guy was getting goal after goal after goal against Philly. He was a point per game in the AHL before that, and now he is pointless. So, let's go over what exactly the Porin Asat have been up to and why exactly Jesperi Kotkaniemi is down there, because trust me, there is a reason. There isn't just some magical fairy dust that withered away from Kotkaniemi's profile, making him a bad hockey player. He's still doing okay, I would say. The Porin Asat this year are bad. They've played 10 games at the time of this recording, and they've only won 4 of them. Furthermore, 3 of those games that they won were won before Jesperi Kotkaniemi joined the team. He's only played 4 games. The Asat have played 10 games in total. Kotkaniemi has been here for 1 of the 4 wins the Porin Asat have on the season, and the games that they did lose, hey, Kotkaniemi was held pointless in the 6-1 loss against Loco. He was held pointless in the 3-2 win against Vasan, and then in the next games where the Asat only scored 2 and 3 goals, Kotkaniemi was pointless as well. However, that's misleading, because the Montreal Canadiens are one of the more popular fan bases in the NHL. You have so many people on Twitter that are actually tweeting out a whole bunch of video from these Porin Asat games. And let me tell you this, if you're actually watching the highlights of what Kotkaniemi is doing, he's actually fine. Like, this guy has been making some very good plays out there for the Porin Asat. It's just, and I hate using this argument, his teammates have been kind of letting him down, and I say that in the most sincere way possible. This is not me saying, oh, it's okay that he has 0 points, because his teammates aren't good. I get how fishy that sounds, but I'm telling you, man, watch some of the footage. There are some clips out there where Jesperi Kotkaniemi dangles around the opponent, sets it up in front for his guy, who has an open net for a cross crease, and he shoots it wide. There are other opportunities where he draws everybody in himself, and then he throws it out into center ice, somebody takes it, they have an open shot to the goal, and they miss. It's happened several times, and furthermore, early on in his tenure playing in these short 4 games, we saw a whole bunch of situations wherein the Porin Asat guys just didn't want to pass it to Kotkaniemi. For some reason, this happened on the power play where the guy wasn't really getting the puck. Everybody was just cycling it amongst themselves and not really letting Kotkaniemi touch it. And of course, I don't want to make any excuses, say, okay, the only reason he's not getting any points is because his teammates aren't there to help him out. But at the same time, it's a valid argument, I think. Sure, you would love to see Kotkaniemi score a hat trick a game, but at the same time, that's kind of unrealistic. In fact, I'm just kind of impressed that this guy is having that really nice resurgence of his playmaking, because that was an asset that we did not really see all too much in the postseason against Philly. Taking a look at his postseason stats, 10 games played, 4 goals, 0 assists. Not to say that Kotkaniemi was not good, playmaking-wise, in the postseason, but all of his production was goals, albeit they were very nicely timed goals and very important goals. He didn't get any assists. We saw him playmake in the AHL. We saw him be an assist-a-game player back there. And in the Finnish Liiga, he is exhibiting those playmaking skills. It's just the teammates around him really aren't putting in the puck after he gifts them opportunities. So I think this is just the absolute worst case of being snake-bitten. Because if he's playing with Nick Suzuki and he sends that pass over that he sent over to some of these Pori Nasat guys over to Nick Suzuki, he sends that pass over to Tatar, he sends that pass over to Toffoli, that puck's in the net 10 times out of 10. So I think if you actually take a look at some of the plays that Kotkaniemi is making, you would say that the numbers really don't reflect that accurately, and you'd say, yeah, this guy's honestly playing pretty okay. It's just his teammates are really letting him down. So to anybody who is out there taking a look at just the numbers and saying, what the heck, Kotkaniemi has 0 points in 4 games played in Finland? This guy was at 29 points in 57 games played when he was 17. How is this guy not getting any points now as a 20-year-old? Just keep in mind, there is some other context behind that. The Pori Nasat have not been winning any games. Kotkaniemi's line mates have really not been burying the pucks that Kotkaniemi has been gifting them in front. And overall, I will say that the fact that he is a Montreal Canadiens guy makes this a much bigger deal than it would have been if it was a fan base of probably any other team. I guess Vancouver and Toronto might have their crazy fans as well, but Montreal fans, you know that I'm not lying when I say that Montreal fans can kind of get a little bit crazy sometimes. So yeah, plus it's Kotkaniemi too, the 3rd overall pick. You know, there's so much context behind who Kotkaniemi is as a player that something like this where he has 0 points in 4 games played, even though it's not a big deal because, like, he's only 20, his Finnish Liiga play in 2020, 2021 is not going to dictate his entire career. Like, he still has another decade's worth of hockey to play in the NHL before all's said and done. So the fact is, all this stuff combined, that he is a 3rd overall pick, you have Hughes and Zadina and all these guys taken after Kotkaniemi who are low-key NHL stars at the moment. You have all the expectations in the world for a guy who was very good against the Philadelphia Flyers in the postseason, and now he has 0 points in Finland, in a league where he's supposed to be dominating, according to some Finnish scouts who watch the games and who analyze the games over there. And all this stuff combined just puts it into a huge, huge overreaction package. So, I'm telling you, man, he's gonna be fine. He is going to be fine, and if you don't think that, go over onto Twitter, check out the actual clips of the game, and watch this guy dangle the pants off of some of the opponents. Like, the Assat have not been great. They're one of the worst teams in the Liga this season. Give the guy a break. So, talk to me in the comments what you think about Jesperi Kotkaniemi getting 0 points in 4 games played. I know I kind of made the title a little bit sensationalized, but at the end of the day, you know, I have catered to what exactly it is that people are talking about, and people are talking about this 0 points thing. So, talk to me in the comments what you think about Kotkaniemi. Hope you enjoyed this video. Sure, that Trollus is 99. And bye.